without ceremony Monster Hearts 2 system and is entirely improvised outside of backstory prepared for the start of the game. This game will contain description of violence, blood, sexual themes, alcohol, and gambling. Viewer discretion is advised.
Last time on Wasteland Gospel, the factions are uprooted in the tense aftermath of the shootout from the night before, and determined to chart new courses away from the miraculously refurbished Alder Hotel. Morgan, Ash, Micah, and Haley agree to leave Javelin behind for the safety of the Marshall Ranch, the Coven's home base. Before preparations to leave are complete, Ash convenes with Chrissy, the owner of the hotel, and exchanges information, revealing the location of another object of power at the clandestine Thistle Lake. Upstairs, Morgan has a supernatural vision while inspecting Cam's bite, and forges a psychic link between herself and the Cerberus. Micah perceives this strange connection being made, and recognizes the magic underpinning it all. At the Overlook, Tal finds solace and understanding with the leader of the choir, Taya, and admits to apprehension of a violent capture of the fugitive thief, Ash. T reassures her, but reminds them of their other responsibilities, and the pressure to uncover the spy within their ranks. After ruminating on his plans, Knox commits to the unconventional arrangement to abscond with the Coven, leaving a remarkable impression on the members. Finally, after an enlightening conversation with their familiar, Dante returns to the altar to discover a frightening display. Faceless figures forming a procession into the belly of the catacombs. Dante follows against their better judgment and is met with a disastrous fate.
And we are live.
We're here.
We're back.
Hell yeah.
We can cut this from this session, but like one of my favorite things is that we actually always start the sessions exactly the same. Like we all go like,
we do.
It's adorable.
Welcome back to the Wasteland. So, Javelin exists in a strange kind of depression. The canyon that it sits beside seems to extend for hundreds of miles. It covers a massive amount of land, and it seems like trying to work your way around it is almost a task like crossing to the other side of the world. It's not really something that many have attempted. Even though technology had advanced to a point where most people had cars or even slowly began collecting mobile phones or satellite phones, Javelin seems kind of untouched by the rest of the world in an almost precarious way. This is even more emphasized, however, where we rejoin our campaign in 1994. And now, I'm going to have all of you guys turn on the creepy music.
I'm so excited.
Okay, ready? Morgan, your eyes are fluttering open, and you feel this searing pain grip through your arm. You try to sort of turn your head to look down, but even the process of moving your neck is causing you an insane amount of pain. As you sort of blink and the early blur of your eyes starts to fade, you can see that you're still connected to the machines from the day before. In fact, from the 4 days before. And you can feel that bleary, confused feeling begin to dissipate as you hear that dull beep come back into focus. What do you do?
Ooh. Is there like a mirror?
Currently, you're lying in bed and you have sheets pulled up about halfway to your waist. You could see a mirror if you were to stand up and disconnect from the machine.
Yeah, I think she would try and stand up.
You can feel the fog in your head, but ultimately you're able to stand. You pull the strip from your finger and with difficulty work the tube out from the inner part of your elbow. It all feels very tender. Everything is very sore. And your arm is completely bandaged all the way to the shoulder. And even you have bandages extending around your chest, sort of seemingly to keep it in place. Do you want to walk over to the mirror and describe what you see in your face, your hair, everything?
Yeah. So, this is young Morgan, right?
Yes.
Whoa! Oh my god. Okay, so looking in the mirror, Morgan is a bit thinner, shorter, and just younger in general. And she has kind of like pushed back, shaggy hair that reaches just past the back of her neck. And it is dyed like bleached blonde, except for the roots.
Do you want to look around the room at all? Or do you want to try
Yes.
and go outside?
I think she'll look around the room real quick.
Okay, so when you inspect the room, it's the exact same as the room that you've been waking up in for the past couple days. It's solid concrete, no defining features, no windows. There's a single fluorescent light that is kind of flickering just ever so slightly above your bed. And there's a small dresser filled with some of your clothes, as well as a very small backpack containing a few of your personal effects. It sort of seems to you like whatever this area is, what they've classified it as a kind of recovery area, doesn't necessarily feel right to you. It feels like it's something else. Do you want to maybe try the door?
Yes.
The door has a sort of knob-like handle, and you're meant to twist and then pull. But when you twist and pull, it rattles and you realize it's locked.
She'll like sluggishly but angrily like kick the door a tiny bit. Like frustration. She'll look around. Is there anything in the room? Like any, I don't know, like a letter or something?
There seems to be a book resting on the table beside the bed that you can't remember whether it was there yesterday. You could check it out if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think she'll do that.
When you open the book has really ornate gilded pages, and as you flip through the pages, you get this exhausted, frustrated feeling, seeing the different types of commandments and rules that the choir has laid out. Ones that are frustrating at times, and others are extremely patronizing. But there seems to be something kind of dog-eared on one of the pages further along. Do you want to make a dark roll for me?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so I'm +2. I rolled an 8.
So an 8 is a mixed success. The abyss shows you confusing visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. So when you flip to the dog-eared page, you see a Polaroid of you and another girl. You're both really young. You have scraped up knees and your pants are kind of torn away from where they are. You're covered in this kind of dusty looking dirt, almost like you've been rolling around while the horses were outside or something. Like, the girl beside you actually is completely clean. She's wearing like a long ankle skirt that's high-waisted and then a sort of frilly white blouse. And she has this long, coily section of hair that's been tucked behind her head. Do you want to take the photo?
Yeah, Morgan kind of like gently takes the Polaroid and smiles a bit, and then, yeah, like pockets it.
Okay, I'm gonna say that when you take the photo, you take a sanity damage, actually.
Oh! Oh my god!
Sorry.
Okay, and writing down -1 sanity.
Okay, Dante, you were standing outside, watching the hallway where Morgan was resting. You have been tasked to this spot for a couple days now, and Taya's instructions were still relatively unclear, but you knew what you were there to do. You hear the thud of Morgan's foot against the door and then retreating steps. Do you want to do anything right now?
Yeah, Dante will just step closer to the door and lean their ear against it to hear if there's any other sounds coming from the room, and just wait if they do.
Okay, Morgan, as you stand in their room, it almost feels like you can hear this kind of ghostly whisper. For some reason, you're hearing voices that you never used to hear before. And I'm gonna say that it feels almost like they're coming from over your shoulder where your arm has been bandaged. And you feel this strange temptation to walk over to the dresser and inspect it. Do you want to do that, or do you want to fight the temptation?
She'll do it.
I'd like you to make another dark roll for me.
Eee, okay. That's a 10.
Can Dante hear the drawer being opened?
I mean, yeah, I think that Dante can probably hear slight movement, but you're expecting to hear shuffling and whatnot. Morgan, when you open the drawer, you notice that in one of your shirts, there seems to be this kind of indentation in the neckline. Do you want to take a look at what it is?
Yeah.
You pull out what seems to be a bobby pin that has been purposefully left there for you. You can't really remember using bobby pins at any point in your life, but you see it and you think, this might be useful. Do you want to give the door a chance with the bobby pin?
Yes.
You're gonna have to roll gambling.
Okay. And gambling is also 2d6, right? That's a 6.
Oh no! Okay, so you take the bobby pin and you can't really remember how to do this. You're sure that it might work. Who knows? Might as well give it a try. You press it gently into where the lock would be and you try to feel for the pins. And Dante, you can hear very strange, subtle clicks happening behind the door. What do you want to do?
Yeah, Dante will open the door, and when they open it, they see Morgan. Does Morgan like retract on time, or can they see Morgan just like hanging there with the bobby pins in her hand?
Yeah, no, I think she's moving slow. Like, they probably just open the door and see her like trying to pick it.
Okay, well, Dante sees that and immediately figure out what's happening there. So they go like, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?
Ah, shit.
Give that to me."
Miss God.
Oh yeah.
Does Morgan like feel anything different about her arm?
Yeah.
Like
There's-
any kind of power?
Sorry, I'm reading the in-game chat and I'm tired. Yeah, so as you feel Dante's presence cross over you, and you can feel like this is a threat to you, you've seen Dante before in and around places, and you begin to feel like they're not going to be interested in just having a conversation with you. You feel your arm begin to tingle a bit. Yeah. So you do feel like for some reason, even though it hurts, there's something really interesting happening with it. The arm is kind of pulsing with some kind of newfound power. It's painful, but at the same time, you do feel a bit stronger than you did a couple days ago.
Okay. I think Morgan will take a glance at the arm and then look back at Dante and say, "Why am I here?"
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I mean, you're the one guarding the door, so...
I'm just doing my job here, man.
What did T tell you?
Dante doesn't say anything. They just stare at Morgan.
Alright. Well, where is T?
Again, no response.
Morgan's gonna like try and push past Dante.
Dante doesn't move. They just go like, where do you think you're going?
Well, you're pretty useless to me right now, so I'm gonna go find some answers.
If Morgan takes another step, Dante will reach with their hand and put the hand on Morgan's chest and like stop them. You're not going anywhere.
In the distance, you hear what sounds like a blade sharpening against a rod.
Oh my god.
I do, or both of them, or
Both of you.
oh, you hear that?
You don't want to leave this room, Morgan.
Oh, is there any way she can use the arm to try and get Dante out of the way?
I'm gonna say that your arm is feeling provocative, and you still get that whispering tingle at the back of your ear, just over your shoulder, as though it's itching to do something. It hasn't been used yet. It wants something, and you can't seem to understand why, but you want to give it to your arm. And I'm gonna give you +3 to volatile.
Oh, what?
Oh my god. Morgan's gonna feed into it. And I'm gonna roll. Let's see. That's a 12.
Okay, Morgan, do you want to describe what you do to Dante?
I think Morgan's gonna smile after Dante says, you don't want to go out there. And she is just gonna full-heartedly lean into that temptation from the arm and try and punch Dante in the throat.
You feel, as you're winding back, and you close your fist, almost like you have 6 men at your side holding your arm, pushing your arm as fast as it possibly can to punch Dante. And Dante, when Morgan's fist makes contact with your collarbone, all of the wind is sucked from your throat and both of your hands snap around your neck and you crumple a bit. And it knocks you backwards out of the doorframe and against the corridor wall. Also, you take a harm in this moment. Dante, do you want to retaliate?
So yeah, for a moment they're just trying to take a breath. It takes a while because the pain is quite a lot. So as they try and get their bearings, they're still holding their throat and they're like, motherfucker. And they will retaliate and they will try to tackle them.
All right, Morgan, are you running?
Yep, she's booking it.
So, Dante, you're going to have to roll volatile to try to
Okay.
catch Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, found it.
All right. So,
10.
a 10 is a complete success, and you chase after Morgan and you wanted to tackle her to the ground?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, as you reach her, Morgan's kind of a scrawny kid. Like, she's smaller than you in terms of, like, her weight and her body at this point. And you're able to catch up to her and get your hands around her abdomen and kind of pull her to the ground with you. Morgan, you don't want to stay here. And that subtle sound has transitioned from a blade being sharpened to now it seems like it's being dragged along a concrete wall. Almost like somebody is stalking you somehow.
So now they're both in the corridor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that hearing the sound like throws her a bit out of it, so she's gonna, with a bit of panic, kind of just like really quickly like look around, like trying to see where the sound is coming from.
Okay. The corridor is extremely long, and there are doors that lead to small rooms, like recovery chambers, sort of like the one that you were just in. And it's such a long stretch of hallway, you can't possibly see where it's coming from. But you do get the sensation that it's not coming from behind you. It's coming from the long pathway that you're looking down that Dante tackled you from.
Ooh. Oh, this is scary. Oh god. I think she'll be like struggling against Dante and just be like, "God, get off me!"
Dante keeps holding them and gonna try and get them up to drag them back into the room so they're not letting go that easily.
Morgan, your arm begins to freakishly glow under bandages, and the sight terrifies you to your core. You have no idea what is going on, but for some reason, it's throbbing. It's growing even more intense, and I'm going to say that you have +4 to volatile.
Ooh. In
Can
that
Dante
case,
also see the glow?
Yes, but Dante, you have also taken Morgan to the ground, right? Are you looking at her, or are you holding onto her and looking away?
I think they would be looking at her, but I don't know if the glow is strong enough for it to like reach Dante's field of view.
I think you'd probably notice it slightly, but for Morgan, it feels like it's hot, like it's glowing. What do you want to do, Morgan?
she is gonna reach up with her arm, try and grab Dante's face and use it to push them like off of her.
Okay, roll.
Oh my gosh. And you said +4?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a 6. Fuck my life. Okay.
Oh no.
Anyways, I don't know how that's gonna go.
I'm gonna tell you. Morgan, you're so powerful that you almost don't know how to use your arm anymore. It doesn't really feel like it's yours. So you're pushing your arm forwards and trying to direct all of this energy, but you can't really seem to get Dante off of you. Now, you see a shadow appear at the end of the corridor, and you see a long, thin-looking... What is it? Is it a pipe? You can't really tell. It swings over this character's shoulders, and they're so far away you have no idea what they look like. But they begin to sort of walk. Dante, what do you want to do?
I think Dante would be actually spooked by the sight of Morgan's arm. In that moment, they would forget just for a second their job, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with your arm? It's glowing. And like they would push themselves up a little bit to get a better view of the arm. Yeah, and just be like stunned for a moment.
Morgan, like, very visibly in front of Dante, looks down at her arm, like, ticking in now, like, the full glow, and is like, I have no idea.
Dante's unsure what to do because on one hand, they have this job that they've been tasked with, but then they see Morgan's arm and they're not sure if Morgan needs help or if they should call for someone. But I think eventually they would try and get them back to the room to secure Morgan and then probably get someone to check what the fuck is going on here.
Okay. Dante, are you standing up? Like, trying to lift Morgan up?
Yeah, I think Dante would try and get on their feet. So
Okay.
they pushed themselves up. And I think they would even offer a hand to help Morgan up.
Morgan does not take it.
Morgan, as Dante stands up over you, still kind of wheezing, holding their throat every once in a while, you really hit them hard. The arm whispers to you, "Get up, run."
She listens.
Oh god.
The arm glows a little bit stronger under the light of the bandages. There's these sort of peels of just this strange strip of almost LED fluorescent glowing. Morgan, can you roll volatile to run away?
Yeah, do I have +4 still?
No, +4 is for anything you're doing with the arm.
Okay, so it's back to my normal one.
+2.
Okay. That's a 7.
Okay, so when you run away on
Oh,
a
fuck.
7 to 9, you get away, but you choose one. You run into something worse, you cause a big scene, or you leave something behind. What do you want to do?
I think it'd be fun if I ran into something worse.
One thing about Zoe is they're always going to run into something worse.
Okay, Morgan, you make a break for it. You take off in a sprint, even though your arm and your entire body is heaving against this tenderness. Like you feel like you've just undergone surgery. The arm whispers to you each time you come to a break in the corridors, left, right, down the stairs, up the stairs. It seems like you're in this long, stretching set of tunnels. You have no idea where this place is. You've never been here before. And for the last couple of days, everything has been a blur of medication and throbbing pain. You eventually make it to this giant vacant foyer, and you notice that there are these triangular doors that are slightly ajar. The arm isn't really helping you at this point. Do you want to try and go through the triangular doors, or do you want to look for another exit?
Are the doors familiar to her?
Not really. Everything is blurry. It's confusing where you are right now. It does look like to the right, there seems to be a normal looking square door, but you have no idea where that leads.
Can I just say that Dante would run after Morgan and follow her?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna get you to roll because Morgan did succeed, so she did get away.
Okay.
But yeah, you can roll.
Oh god, okay. It's a 7.
All right, Dante, are you running into something worse, causing a big scene, or leaving something behind? I'm gonna say, at this point, I don't know if you could interest me with anything you'd leave behind.
True. But also, like, Morgan's already running into something worse. So does that mean that Dante would also run into something worse? Or is that just for Morgan? And there would be like a double bad something.
So here's the funny thing about chasing down Morgan. Morgan had a head start and did successfully get away. And Morgan had the arm giving her instructions. You don't have the arm.
Oh, okay.
You don't know where you're going.
Holy shit. Well, I guess Dante's also gonna run into something worse then. Also, as they take off, I think they would try and call out for T. Like, they're not sure if T's gonna hear them, but they have this inkling that T knows everything about everyone at any time. So they just yell like this animalistic shout, and they just go, T! And then run after Morgan.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Can I ask the Abyss?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. And that's dark, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, hang on. 9.
What was your question?
Ooh.
What is behind the triangle door?
My goodness, Miss Morgan.
If I can't ask that, I can also ask a different one.
No, I love that. Behind the triangle door is another room with multiple exits, sort of in a hexagon. All of the other exits for this room have other triangle doors, and there's something strange in the center. It looks like a stone tablet almost.
Does the tablet ring any bells for Morgan?
Right now, the visions that you're getting from the abyss are a little bit too confusing.
Okay. I think she will go down the square doors.
Okay. When you turn to head into the square doors, you are met with this almost industrial stairwell. It looks like it's been here since probably the 70s. It seems well built, well ventilated, and well lit. And you begin running up the stairs, trying to see which way the arm will tell you to go next. There seems to be, at the top of a long staircase, a door after a long corridor. Do you want to go through it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Morgan, when you push on the heavy metal handle of the door and it swings open, your eyes are overwhelmed by the brightness of the desert. And you see that this door has been built into the side of the canyon. And it takes you a moment to adjust to realize that if you had taken 2 more steps, you probably would have fallen to your death.
Ooh.
There's this enormous chasm that stretches out near you, and you see that to your left there seems to be stairs carved into the side of the rocks that lead up, and you can hear noises from town above you. What do you want to do?
I think in this moment, she is lost. And I think was gonna be out of breath a bit from running and the adrenaline and like looking around. If she looks back into the corridor, does she hear anyone coming after her?
No.
Huh. Can she go back?
You turn to see if the door has shut behind you and whether or not it's locked. And as you've tried the handle a couple times, you notice that the latch has closed pretty firmly. Out of the corner of your eye, there's this big blue sky that stretches out for miles, and there's no sound, but you can see a ripple of lightning cross the sky for just a moment.
Whoa. What does the arm feel like now?
The arm is a bit calmer. It's not glowing anymore. It just throbs at this point. You don't really know what just happened, but you get this sinking sensation that everything about where you were was so confusing. It's nothing like you'd ever experienced for the last couple of years while you had been in Javelin.
I think Morgan is looking for some kind of answer or something familiar. So I think she would be ideally seeking out either Quinn or T.
Okay, I'm going to say that your arm is speaking to you again, sort of in audible whispers. If you want to find somebody, you're going to have to gaze into the abyss.
Yes, I will.
Who are you looking for?
Quinn, I think. And then Abyss is dark?
Abyss is dark.
Okay. That's a 9.
So, on a 9, the abyss shows you confusing visions, but you get your answer nonetheless. You notice that Quinn, she has her head stuffed into a book. She's furiously writing notes, and there are a couple used tissues on the side of her desk that makes it look like she's maybe been crying. But you recognize this space as her office, just like in her house by the tavern. You've been there a bunch of times before. Do you want to maybe check it out?
Yeah, Morgan will make her way there.
As you're walking there...
Oh, fuck.
As you're walking, you begin to hear 2 older choir officers arguing. Do you want to take cover, or do you want to stay in the open?
Yeah, she'll take cover.
You duck behind one of the old wooden buildings, and there's a woman who has a thick cigarette stuck between her teeth, and she keeps pulling extremely anxiously, and a man who's trying to calm her down. And she yells at him that Taya will be furious when they find out that the weapon is gone. The man seems to be trying to let her relax, saying, listen, let's calm down. We don't know what it was for. We can settle down and just find her. Like, I'm sure she hasn't gotten far. And the woman anxiously runs her hand through her blonde hair and says, this was the only thing that we had to do. Who was in charge of looking after her? We have to find them. We have to find the kid. And the man says, who did they spend time with? I'm sure that we can maybe get an answer out of them. The woman says, no, she's been a wreck since she found out she wouldn't be able to see her anymore. We can't talk to her. She's not going to give us any kind of information. Morgan, can you make one last dark roll for me? I'm sorry for making you roll so much.
No, you are so good, dude. Like, oh my god. Okay. Ooh, 14.
Ooh.
Did I do that right?
Yeah.
What?
You rolled a critical success and then +2.
Holy shit, man. Damn.
Also,
Okay.
mark 2 XP.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
As you feel this dark sensation come over you, it's almost like the rest of the town disappears, and you can hear this spectral conversation happening between Taya and another person, and Taya seems to be impatiently reciting to this person, listen, the recovery is only a couple of weeks. After that, we'll be able to take care of whatever we need. Just make sure that she stays compliant, and we'll begin to give her freedoms back after some time. But not now, not yet. We need this to work for us. There's a sort of hush, and you get the sensation that Taya has been talking about this for what seems like weeks with how practiced this tone was. You begin to feel like an experiment in a weird way. And then the murmur from the 2 senior choir officers have quieted down, and you begin to hear footsteps on gravel. And then you hear, shh, do you hear that? What do you do?
Oh shit. Is there like a rock nearby or something?
You're behind. You're behind one of the buildings in Javelin. There are probably rocks around, but you could also try to steal away further into the city, or you could try to find shelter somewhere. What do you want to do?
Is Quinn's place further into the city?
Yeah.
Is there a clear path to that direction that she could stealth in, or not really yet?
You'd have to make a gamble roll to see if you could make it to there safely.
Oh god. Could she possibly throw a rock and distract them?
That would also probably be its own gamble, and I really love that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do a gamble roll. Okay.
Go for it.
Let's see. Let me get a 1. Okay, roll. That's an 11, actually. Yippee!
All right. So you pick up the craggly rock from beside you and, thinking as fast as you possibly can, throw it in another direction. And the choir officers, seemingly like soulless AI, turn their heads over and they think, oh, like, we should go check that out. And they run over. So you want to make your way over to Quinn's house?
Yeah.
All right. Morgan, you make your way over to Quinn's house, and I'm going to say that Dante, you were racing through the tunnels, but you've only been here for a couple days, and it's still really confusing to you what they do down here. You've been with the choir for a couple years now, but they keep you out of the loop on some of the senior operations, and you come across a door that seems to have light pouring in from the outside. You could go through, or you could continue down the hallway and carry on your search. What do you want to do?
Okay, so they see the door with the light pouring in, but do they also see the triangular doors, or just that one?
Just the door with the light pouring in, and then another corridor.
And they can't see what's down the corridor, it's too dark, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They're gonna go through the door. They're assuming that's where Morgan went. Dante's committed to the mission.
Dante, when you open the door, you notice that there's a makeshift workstation down here. There are some files, some documents, and there's 2 people standing in a corner. And when they see you, they snap their heads over to you, and they get the shocked look on their faces. They look at each other, and then they look over towards the center of the room, where someone is sitting in a chair with their back towards you, and you can begin to hear that sharpening sound again. These 2 individuals who are standing to the side suck in a breath and then decide to leave the room.
Oh no. Are there any other doors except for the one that Dante just walked through?
It's just one room, one door, leading to a bunch of corridors.
Oh shit. Dante is very confused and at this point also very frustrated because this is not how they planned their day to go. And obviously there's no one else except for that person in the middle of the room. So they turn back, and for a moment they think that they're gonna leave the room because Morgan's obviously not there, but they're intrigued about the person sitting in the middle of the room, so they kinda slowly approach them and just walk around to see who it was.
As you walk into the room, it's almost like this person recognizes the sound of your footfalls and they turn their heads slightly, knowing that it's you. And then you see their shape stand up and they roll their shoulders back and they say, Dante, what are you doing here? And they turn their face and it's T.
Oh no.
Why are you... Weren't you supposed to be...
All blood drains from Dante's face. They know they fucked up real hard because Morgan got away and now they ran into T and they're gonna have to explain the whole situation. So they visibly gulp and just stammer and like Morgan got away.
T at this point is 23. They've got half of their head shaved along the side, and their locks are a little bit longer, and they come around to their other shoulder. They're wearing a military t-shirt, and you can see some of their tattoos are still healing on their forearms. And as they cross over, they walk around the chair they were sitting in, absorbing your words, and they place on the table an enormous katana that they had been sharpening.
Oh god.
What did you say?
That there was something wrong with their arm. It was glowing and they escaped. They left the room. I tried to catch up with them, but they just got away.
T's face gets really dark. I told you not to ask any questions. I told you just to do as I asked.
I swear to God, I didn't. I tried to stop Morgan. Something's wrong with them. I don't know where they went. They left down one of the corridors and... God, I'm so sorry.
Put out on all points. And then T picks up the katana and flourishes it for a moment before sheathing it and putting the sheath at their hip. They walk forward and they put a hand on Dante's shoulder in a gesture which would feel very comforting, though at this point all you can feel is this overwhelming, oppressive energy. And they say, "You'll make this up to me."
Dante just flinches and hangs their head in shame and say, "Yes, T. Understood."
Okay. I'm gonna say that that's actually the end of the Morgan Dante flashback. We're not gonna get more of Morgan going to Quinn. That's for another day. Okay, Morgan, when you left the altar with the Coven, you packed your bags and you got all your stuff, correct?
Yeah, I think.
I'm gonna say that for some reason, as you're sitting on the back of Chief, and the horses have slowed from a trot to a generic walk as Haley navigates the rocky outcropping in front of you to make it down to where her ranch is, you can't help but think about how many times you've left Javelin and what it was like at that first moment when you decided to leave. And can you make one last dark roll?
Yeah, hang on. I got an 8.
Did you pack the photo of you and Quinn?
Oh my god, because she's damaged with mental sanity, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Being gay is not a choice. Oh.
It almost feels like the photo is burning a hole in the backpack that was slung over the back of Chief. And after the night before, when you had that conflict, and it had been so many years since you had seen her, for some reason you had been thinking a lot about the final moments that you had, but it's too painful to recall them, so you try to stop yourself before you can remember the last things you ended up saying to each other. Ash, you feel Morgan's body tense up behind you. Morgan, are you holding on to Ash? Or are you just kind of hands on your thighs?
I think, like, lightly holding on to Ash's hips, but like very lightly, like in a polite way. Just I don't know, because I'm assuming like wait, okay, hang on, everyone, hang on, polite, holding. Let me explain here. And I don't know, aren't they like going across like a rocky canyon in the desert?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like she needs to hold on. I don't know.
no one is judging you, Zoe. Ash, you can kind of feel as you're navigating the rock, Morga tenses up and you can feel her hands on your hips move slightly. Do you want to say anything to her or do you want to stay quiet?
I think they've been writing the whole time in a very quiet manner. They haven't really been exchanging words. But then Ash notices that Morgan suddenly goes stiff and she just looks over her shoulder. What's up? Did you see something? And then she like looks over in the front to see if something happened or whatever.
Oh, no, just thinking about things from, I don't know, stupid.
What?
It's fine. I was just thinking about what happened earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I had to give something to Chrissy. That was all I could think of. Wait, was that what you meant?
No, just everything that happened with the fight and I mean,
Oh, your girlfriend. Right.
okay, no, not. You're jumping a bit ahead there.
What did you do, dude? Like, she seems to have some very big issues.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really understand where a lot of the feelings I think are coming from her. It's been years since I'd seen her, and yeah, that was a bit out of the blue.
Just because we have this thing going on, we're working together. Just letting you know.
Thing. All right.
Like, Ash tries to ignore. Listen, I know they've been poking around, looking for something, and if she comes in my way again, I'm gonna stop her.
You. No offense, Ash. I've seen you run. I don't know if you could take her.
All I'm saying is, Ash kind of pauses, trying to think what's the best way to say it, because she wants to protect Vera and not really mention her place. And she goes, look, I think she's working for the choir. I don't know if you know that already, but she been poking around places that she shouldn't.
I can hear God whispering in my ear. Morgan will stew on that information in silence.
Here, Deputy Bray, like, in front of you as you're walking along the outcropping. And Haley, after hearing some chatter behind her without really anyone speaking for the whole ride, she turns behind her and she's like, "You all right back there?"
Morgan will look at Ash.
Ash gives a glance over her shoulder and she speaks louder for Haley to hear. We're all just fine here, ma'am.
Aww.
Don't you ma'am me, I'm only a few years older than you. Come on now. We should be coming up on it soon. Just maybe another half hour. Do you guys need a rest or anything, or are you fine?
Ash asks more quietly to Morgan. You gonna be fine there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. And then she says to Haley, "Nah, we good."
Haley's kind of chuckling to herself and she straightens her back, and Micah is behind her. She turns her head slightly to speak only to Micah and says, "I'm glad they're getting cozy."
Micah is gonna snicker at this comment and relax behind Haley.
Okay, I'm gonna jump back to the altar now. Nox, you had finished your conversation with Tal, and you had also had your brief conversation with Haley where you did confirm that you were planning on meeting up with her later so that she could pick you up and take you to the ranch to investigate the object. After your conversation with Haley, did you want to head back inside to the altar? What exactly did you want to do?
So after the conversation, they just headed back in the altar with the objective to go to their room.
Nox, when you step inside the altar, there's a strange antiseptic smell, and it's eerily quiet. Just nobody around at all. Looks like everybody cleared out, and you're not really sure why, but it might be a slow day for business. You notice that some things look new, but have you ever really paid much attention to the altar before? Does it strike you as strange, or do you just think, wow, I guess they cleaned up fast?
I don't think that Nox would have paid much attention to the furniture around, but if it was truly different, like the way the furniture is placed, the layout itself, potentially would notice, but it's been there for such a long time, so if little things are different, it might not notice.
I love him. So you make it back to your room. Did you want to start packing?
I think that when he gets to his room, he takes a breather and thinks about what's gonna happen. He finally has a moment to pause to think about it. And as we all know, for the entirety of the campaign, Nox is still a bit perplexed about what's going on in his mind. Because on one hand, he feels like he might be doing something wrong. But on the other hand, even though he knows that T wouldn't approve of him just going like that, he knows that he might get some relevant information for Thea. So it's nudging himself and being like, well, either way, something is gonna happen from this. And it could be important information for T, so I'm not really doing something bad, right? That's kind of like
justifying
the logic. Yeah, it's kind of like justifying his behavior. So again, he looks around his room and surveys the place to see like, what should I pack? For how long am I gonna be gone for? He didn't really ask these questions to Haley, so he kind of thinks to himself, well, maybe I should have asked a bit more before I decided to go. But now it's too late, so he's just like looking around to see, okay, maybe a couple of shorts and a couple of t-shirts and stuff like that, all looking pretty much the same. And I suppose his eyes look down on the desk to see if there is anything important there.
On the desk, you see T's rosary that you had taken from the night before, and I'm going to ask you to make a dark roll.
Ooh, okay, wait a second. Oh, well...
You look at the rosary and you get a strange tingling sensation, sort of at the base of your neck. And instead of reaching forwards and trying to engage with that feeling, you almost want to look away. It might be that you're feeling really guilty, but it also might be that you don't want to think about it too much. You just want to see what you can discover, and then maybe you can have the best of both worlds. At the back of your mind, as you're packing, you look at the time and you notice that your clock that's plugged into the wall is flashing, almost like the power isn't working.
Oh, shoot. And that's on the desk? So
by the rosary.
When he sees that, he pauses what he's doing when he's packing and goes towards the desk and gently taps the little clock, trying to like fix it.
None of the buttons are working, and you begin to feel this strange feeling in your stomach. It could be anxiety, or it could be something else that's bubbling up. And I'm going to ask you to make one more dark roll.
Ooh. 5. I'm rolling so bad.
Okay. As you're fiddling with the clock and you realize things aren't working and you're feeling kind of discombobulated, you're feeling disconnected from yourself, you just want to take a second and sit back down on your bed towards your clothes.
I would think maybe that while he's rummaging through his clothes, other than like the more recent ones that he uses often, like the shorts and the t-shirts, he sees long-sleeved clothes that he used to wear years prior, and they are very worn out, and he sees those, so I suppose it would reminisce a bit.
Okay. So at this point, Nox, you reach over and you touch the fabric of that old shirt gently, and then there is a sort of jump cut smack to 1995. Suddenly you're transported again back into an older version of your body and yourself. You walk through a damp and dripping room and you think, all you have to do is remember your instructions and what you're up against. You hear the anxious shuffling of papers, and when you round the corner, you see the Javelin old jail cell, where there is a little table with a sort of anxious-looking person standing there going through documents, and a figure slouched in the corner sitting on a bench. The air is musty and the sounds of the metal scraping as the person who's sitting at the desk is trying to move stuff around. What do you want to do?
As soon as Nox enters the room, they kind of look around a little bit, and in some ways they're kind of nervous. They want to do things properly, but they're also feeling some kind of anxiety. Their right hand kind of hitches. They tug down their long sleeve shirt and cover it with it and hold it in some ways.
I'm gonna say that the figure who's standing at the desk hears you approach and turns at attention and turns to face you. And she's a woman of medium-sized build. She's wearing a navy sheriff's outfit, and she has short, cropped black hair, sticks to her forehead, and she kind of stands at you, looking at attention. What does she see?
She sees a very tall person who has longish hair, shoulder length, just a bit less than that. And this person is wearing a very oversized shirt with a long sleeved shirt under, and also 3/4 length pants. They kind of stick out a little bit. Weirdly enough, they have sunglasses on, even though the place is pretty dark. And the sunglasses, they are square-shaped.
Square shape.
Let's see.
No square, like rectangular. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay. No, I get it. I just.
Oh my god.
Oh, no, emo. I love him.
Pre-tattoo Era Nox, let's go.
He the longer hair, edgier pre-tattoos. Like, truly.
So yeah, that's what they look like. And thank you. And yeah, they're kind of like standing around. It's kind of difficult to read this expression, mostly because it doesn't look like he smiles a lot, and there is lots of things making it difficult to say the kind of expression this person has.
The sheriff, Ross, who you've met a couple times, has acted as a puppet for the choir and Javelin, giving the people of Javelin this false confidence that there's a body of law enforcement that isn't related to the cult, but at this point, it's almost entirely certain that Ross doesn't do anything except follow T's orders. She looks at you expectantly and then down back at the papers and shuffles backwards. She's unsure whether or not she should watch you work. And the figure in the cell doesn't say anything.
At this point, Nox shares a glance with the sheriff and gives an acknowledging nod. and then slightly moves their head towards the jail cell and takes a breath in and puts his hands in his pockets, slowly walks towards the bars and just stands there looking at the person behind them.
When it's clear that Nox is basically like watching the figure sort of like a caged animal, she rolls her head backwards and you can see her a bit better. She has ratty looking denim with leather on the inner thigh for riding horses. Her hair is really messy. She's covered in ashes. She has a poorly bandaged arm that looks like it was definitely done herself and not by the people who potentially took her in. And she gives you a menacing smile and says, "Well, are you supposed to be scary or something?"
To that, Nox raises slightly his eyebrows and just tilts his head and says nothing. And kind of takes a step sideways, still looking at that person.
Look, I got no interesting information for you, but I'm sure that you could waste your time doing something else instead of watching me like a little caged bird. I mean, I don't know. Do you have better things to do? I really can't tell by looking at you.
At this point, Nox looks back at the sheriff and says, "Do you have a file on her?"
The sheriff kind of snaps her attention back to you and was watching the interaction with sort of like tight shoulders. Like, she looks like such a sensitive creature, like she's shivering or something.
I love her!
She's kind of scared of you. And she goes through the files on her desk and then eventually pulls out a folder and passes it to you. On the outside, in big red letters, it says classified. Do you want to go through it?
Yes.
As you skim through the files, you notice that it's overflowing with petty crimes, just small nuisances over the past couple years. But you begin to see that some of the more recent entries have become a bit more troubling, including the one for the reason you were sent here, which was a case of arson against a caravan of munitions. It said that she had a co-conspirator, but they're not currently in the cell, so you think to yourself, they must have gotten away. What do you want to do?
Well, while scrutinizing the file, Nox is just pacing back and forth, looking down and using every finger for every page. You know how they shuffle them fast and just reading through quickly. And from time to time, maybe giving a glance over the cell, but still saying nothing. And I suppose the air is pretty thick and quiet, and there is just the sound of the shuffling and the papers and the walking around.
Haley's gonna stand up and saunter over to where the bars are and stick both forearms through, like she's folding her arms through the bars, and try to get a look at you and be like, "So, you got a name or something?"
Nox, still looking at the files, says, "Why does it matter?"
Because, I mean, if you're gonna be asking me useless questions, I figured I might as well get one out, right?
And to that, it's the first time that he actually gives a bit of a chuckle, but it's not an amused chuckle, more like, what? And he kind of gives a little glance and says, "You're not in a position to ask anything, you know that, right?" And looks back down at the files.
I mean, no one around here is shutting me up or anything. I mean, you should have seen that little terrified mouse in the corner a second ago. I could have been running my mouth about anything.
Nox has a bit of a upright smile, but it could be that, it could be nothing. You can't really see that. And it kind of just looks out to the right. It's at Ross. What is the sheriff doing?
she's biting her nails and like watching from the corner. Like when she notices that you've turned to look at her, she anxiously looks away.
Well, okay. I think that at this point, Nox walks over to the sheriff and gives the papers. He just holds them at arm's reach for the woman to take them.
Ross is going to take them, and I'm actually going to have Haley make a roll, if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so...
Oh! What are you rolling for?
Haley rolled 10, and she's rolling hot. She has sort of tilted her head slightly so that her forehead is resting against the metal of the bars, and she's like, so what are you thinking? How many years I got? 2, 3? Or you think you can let me out for just harmless fun?
I'm sorry, as BB, I'm blushing. Honestly, I'm dying. I can't.
Thank God we don't play this game with cameras because my mouth would genuinely drop open.
I'm dying. Why am I blushing? Okay, composure. I'm cool. Okay. So since it's a 10, the consequence has to be that Nox is taken by this, right?
So a 10 for hot is a complete success. So basically, Haley gets a Nox string, and you have to choose one of the following reactions. You give yourself to the person, you promise something you think they want, or you get embarrassed and act awkward.
Can I roll for cold? Sorry.
To shut down? Absolutely, you can.
Okay, so my cold is -1. That's great, right? My rolls are out of this world today. Insane.
Oh my
Anyways.
god.
That's how they hooked up, because of this.
Okay, so no, what do you think you were going to try to do? What were you going to say if it was successful? And I'm going to tell you how it failed.
Nox would say, that depends on how you behave with me right now.
Okay, because you said that and you failed, Haley's eyes are gonna light up.
Oh.
Like she knows that she has you, like just a little bit.
Shit.
So she's actually going to unhook her arms from the bars where she was and walk over to across from where you are and put her hands on the bars near your face, tilt her head to look at you, and she's gonna give you this sort of impish, evil looking smile. You're like, oh wow, can I offer anything you might want to make this negotiation easier?
Nox is a bit on edge right now. He kind of gulps, and he literally says to the sheriff, Sheriff, why don't you go outside, take a bit of fresh air?
The sheriff is gonna look at you with like sky-high eyebrows, like, excuse me?
And Nox is not looking at the sheriff, he just said that. Still looking at Haley.
Oh my goodness. Okay, okay, the sheriff is going to understand and leave. Haley is watching you after you told Ross to leave, and she's still smiling, and she's not really sure what you want.
I think that at this point, Nox takes one step forward and says, so, you've been causing a lot of trouble here.
Me? No. No, not at all. Why? Does it say that in your little file?
As a matter of fact, yes, it does. We've been keeping track of you. And why are you doing what you're doing?
This doesn't really seem like a very good place for a conversation like that. I mean, like, what do I get from telling you anything? I'm just here to have a good time. Can't you see that?
I could let you look at my face if you help me out.
She's gonna kind of like suppress a laugh,
And then I'm gonna have her do another roll.
Come on. What the fuck? It's
Okay, so
possible.
that was a complete success, but that wasn't a hot roll. So I'm going to say that Haley tries to search her eyes across Nox's face, and then she juts her hand out from behind the bars, takes a fistful of Nox's shirt, and then walks backward and pulls them into the bars, and hits their chest up against the middle, and then lets go.
Oh my god.
Nox takes a harm.
Holy fuck! I am obsessed. Okay. Is there any blood or anything else?
I don't think she was trying to slam you, like, your head or anything like that. I think she's just playing with you a little bit. Like, she just pulled you forward, and there was a small sound of Nox's body making contact with the bars, but ultimately, there's not much else. She lets go, but she stays close by. She's giving you, like, a challenging look. Want to take this conversation somewhere more private, and maybe we can work with that.
Nox tries to regain his composure a little bit and notices that he's kind of failing at looking menacing to this person. And he's a bit irritated by that, actually. That irritation is growing a little bit inside. I think that Nox is gonna walk towards the desk where all the papers are and tries to look for the cell keys.
As Nox moves over, I think Haley's gonna call and be like, "Oh wow, can you get my hat while you're over there?" And you like shuffle through and you end up finding the ring of keys. It was under some of the documents. What do you do?
For one, it takes the keys, and then when Haley says that comment about the hat, he looks over. Is the hat hanging?
Yeah, the hat is hanging next to a cream-colored work jacket. Looks like it's well worn and probably 2 sizes too big for Haley, but it's with the other confiscated stuff. So
Oh, that's so cute. So in one hand he keeps the ring of keys, and with the other one takes the hat and looks at Haley and just shoves it on the ground, just throws it somewhere. That hat?
Okay, hold on. Bibi, you gotta start rolling.
Should I roll for this? What? I'm doing too much role playing.
It's up to you, but Haley just rolled again because.
Stop! I can't!
Okay, so you threw the hat not inside the cell, right? Like outside the cell.
Yeah, it's like far away from this prison cell. Yeah.
Haley's gonna kind of look down at her hat that you've just put on the dirty ground and then back up at you, and she's gonna kind of like roll her shoulders back and then walk slightly away from the cell doors, and she's gonna say, "We both know you're gonna open it, so you take your time."
Can I roll for cold?
Yeah, roll to shut down again, but I mean, like, Nox is into this.
Shut down! Yes, finally!
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, when you shut someone down, choose one from below, but you come across poorly, and they give you a condition in return. They lose a string on you. If they have no strings on you, gain one on them. They gain a condition, or you take one forward. What do you want to do? Do you want to take one forward? Do you want to have Haley lose a string?
I want to take one forward.
Okay, so you take one forward, but they give you a condition, and I'm gonna say that the condition that Haley gives you is into this, and the condition is basically going to be that you are going to come across poorly if you try to shut Haley down again. Just once, though.
Okay, I think that after throwing the hat down, Nox calmly, or seemingly calmly. I don't know if Hailey thinks that's calmly, but seemingly calmly walks towards the cell door, unlocks the door, and opens it, and just stands at the opening.
I'm gonna say that as you square your shoulders against Haley, the difference in size really comes into clarity for you. Like, she's kind of small and she looks kind of scrappy. And now that you're a bit closer to her, you can see she has like a black eye and a split lip. But as you stand in the doorway, something really strange begins to happen at the back of her head. And you watch as these demonic ridged horns come out of the crown of her head. What do you do?
Well, I don't think Nox has ever seen somebody swords just pop up like that. I think that Nox is actually fascinated by this. It's weird, and he kind of likes that. I think he tilts his head in a curious demeanor. And if Hailey is still at the back of the cell, is she?
She never moved like all the way to the back. She's just in the center. She's
center.
probably like 1.5 meters away from you.
Okay. I think then Nox will keep walking slowly towards Hailey until he's just in front of her.
Hailey is extremely confused as to why Nox didn't recoil when her horns came up. I think she's expecting a general reaction from people to be like, this is a demonic entity and they should run. In general, when she comes across people and her horns come out, they get scared, and she's finding herself almost like doubly fascinated by the fact that Nox isn't moving away and is in fact getting closer. And I think she's gonna try and look over at your hands.
The sims are pretty down, but if Hailey were to look deeply enough, she could probably see some kind of symbols on the palms of his hands, but they're kind of semi-obscured. If I want to be physically aggressive, they're rolled for volatile.
Yes.
So 2d6 plus 1. Are you fucking God, this session is insane!
Okay.
Nox is so fucking whipped, man. Like, I can't deal with him. Fuck off!
Okay, so do you want to describe like what you were maybe thinking of doing?
Well,
like...
yes. I think that Nox wanted to potentially, if Hailey was closer to the wall, pin her on the wall. But since she's in the middle, just like shove her down on the floor. That was the idea, but I don't know if it works.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that because of the sort of size, like you're seeing the difference, you do still feel that strange urge to hold back a little bit. And so you just end up taking a hand and pushing her in the middle of the chest, and she just takes one step backwards. It's a gentle push, like it doesn't really do anything to her.
Pushing a kid.
Okay, so the thing that Hailey was going to do was you sort of push her and she takes a step back and she chuckles to herself. She's finding this really amusing. And she sort of nods her head towards where your fresh tattoo is. And she looks back at you and she says, "Go on, earn it." And because it was a 7, you get to decide how you react to that flirtation.
I think this is literally not, like, it almost feels like Nox is feeling like he tries to do something, but his body's betraying him in some capacity. And he finds himself enjoying the situation way more than he expected. So I think that he tilts his head again and he gives in to the situation. I don't know what that means though. You can tell me.
Oh. Okay, so I'm So I'm actually going to ask everybody else. I think it would be really fun to actually cut this flashback here.
No!
Whoa!
Introductions.
But I'm gonna say that if this was like cinematic in a way, like after Haley levels this final taunt, Haley has collected 2 strings against
Holy
Nox.
shit.
Like Haley for sure has the upper hand in this
Yes.
interaction. And I think Nox is younger and new to an experience like this and is so intrigued by the horns that I think you would just see Haley smirking at him and then you'd see Nox actually smiling about it for once. And then Nox, the memory kind of shakes away. You don't really dare continue pressing on further. And you notice that you've pulled that sweater like into your lap to hold it and kind of like knead it with your fingers. How are you feeling right now?
Well, I think that their memory for some reason is very important and comforting to Nox. And it does make him smile how not threatening it was for Haley since the first time they've seen each other. Even though Haley was literally in a prison cell, she had the upper hand the whole time. So he kind of looks at the clothes and decides that he does want to bring those ones with him.
Oh wow. A Life is Strange butterfly effect. This action will have consequences.
Oh!
Hey everybody, we hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Wasteland Gospel will return in just a few minutes.
So, Ash, you've been following behind Haley for a couple hours now, and you've seen parts of the desert that make you shudder, and then once you reach the final stretch, you begin to feel a surprising and uncharacteristic sense of calm come over you. You begin to feel as though you may not need to run as you're arriving to Haley's ranch. When you reach the outskirts of it, there's a sort of rickety wooden fence that surrounds a very extremely outer perimeter and a tall wooden gate, post and lintel, 2 posts on either side, and a sign in the middle that says Marshall Ranch. As you get towards the gate, Haley breaks off on Deputy in a gallop.
Oh my god, Micah's gonna let out a yelp and go, "Oh," and grab onto Haley, basically interlocking their hands in front of Haley and lean against her.
She sort of laughs.
Ash doesn't break out on a run. As she comes into the ranch, she just like finally exhales because she's been through quite a lot as she was in town. And it finally feels like she can have a moment. As they're coming in, she remembers the little interaction that she had with Morgan, that she examined her arm. She feels Morgan holding onto her, and she just asks, "So, do you have a story for that thing?" And she kind of motions with her head so Morgan can see that she's pointing to the arm.
Oh my gosh. I think like Morgan will blush a tiny bit and then we'll kind of stutter. I mean, it's nothing real pleasant, if that's what you're asking.
That's what I figured.
Oh, you figured.
What kind of history do you have with Thea?
Wow. Kind of real deep right off the bat, huh?
I mean, I know they have their hands all over town, and I figured they have some history with you as well.
I could tell you, but seeing as you gave away some of my information earlier for something, what have you got to trade?
Ash kind of entertains the thought, like, what would you like to know? I'm not that interesting.
Let's see. What's up with you and Vera?
Ash stiffens a little bit because the latest experience she had of people seeking information about Vera related to her have not been pleasant or in a good note. And she just goes, we have some business, and that's about it. Like, I have business with you guys.
Quick out of character question. In the first session, didn't Morgan come across Ash and Vera together with the briefcase?
Vera was in the room.
She was on her
and she
room.
left. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The answer still stands.
Girl, what are you doing here?
Alright, with that, right. So, you invite all your business partners in your room?
I mean, you were literally there, so yeah, you can say so.
Alright.
Why? Are you jealous?
Ash.
The name call.
A roll.
Thank you.
Oh my god, what is my heart?
That was like such a teacher voice. That was so funny.
Oh no, it's -1.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. All right. On a 7 to 9, when you try to turn someone on, they get to choose from the following reactions: either giving you a string, give yourself to the situation, promise something that you think they want, or get embarrassed and act awkward.
So give yourself into the situation. That just means like you go with it, right? Like you're playing into it.
Yeah, you play along with the flirtation. And the way that Ash was flirting was, are you jealous?
Okay, I will go with that option. What? I mean, a coworker can't be concerned about another coworker?
Are you concerned about all you, like, Ash kind of raises her hands and do air quotes? Your coworkers like this.
Wait, so they're off the horse, right?
No, they're still on the horse.
Oh, okay. Morgan's gonna lean in closer and slightly tighten her hands on Ash as she does and say, I mean, I keep an eye on the ones I'm interested in.
Oh my god, Zoe, I'm holding a gun to your head. Roll for that.
Where's my thing? Oh, I have -1 too. Fuck. Okay. 9.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, Nox took all of the bad rolls for you
I know,
guys.
Nox took a lot for the team.
Okay, so Ash, how do you want to respond?
Wait, the options are give a string, act awkward,
Yeah, so-
or give...
You can give a string, act embarrassed, promise something you think they want, or give yourself to the situation.
Okay. Interesting. I think Ash would give something she thinks they want, which is at this moment being vulnerable and giving information that Morgan was asking. I think Ash would say, "No, yeah, I get that. You could say there are people that also interest me around here." And she's kind of vague about who that might be, kind of suggesting that it might be Morgan, might not.
Right. It's the horses, isn't it? That's why you're here?
Yeah. And she, like, pats Chief's mane. She's the only girl for me.
Okay, so you guys have both been walking along on the dirt road that leads up to the ranch. You've been passing by some of the desert scrub, and slowly some of the ranch buildings are coming into view. As you crest over the hill, you can see the main buildings of the area, and Micah and Haley have disembarked from Deputy. And Haley turns to you and is like, "Come on now, what's the holdup? What are you guys gossiping about? Let's go."
Ash kind of coughs a little bit because they're caught in an awkward situation, and then she, like, hits the... What's it called? The thing that you hold the horse?
The rain.
The rain?
Yeah. And like, just speeds up to get to whatever their destination is.
Ash, as you lead Chief away, Morgan, I'm going to say that you also get off the horse. You've been thinking about a lot today, and Ash hasn't really been very forthcoming, but either of you. Ash, you take Chief to her designated area. It's really comfortable, and part of you kind of hopes that she's almost even excited to be home. As you stand there with her, you hear this sound of a thunderstorm in the back of your head. Can you make a dark roll for me?
Ooh, 8.
All right. You lead Chief away, and you take a breath. You begin to slow your thoughts, and you can hear the thunderstorm get closer. You close your eyes and you breathe really deeply. And even though there were clear skies a moment ago, you can hear what sound like the rumblings of rain outside. But when you open your eyes to look around, it's like the vibrational sounds was maybe coming from something else. And you're in a different place. You're in a memory, actually.
DJ flashbacks.
Where's Maya?
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Tal, why don't you describe for me where Ash is right now?
Ash is looking at a hotel door. Yeah, they're in the hallway of the altar on the 3rd floor, where usually the choir members stay. And they're standing right outside of a door that has 19 on it. And yeah, that's where they're standing.
Ash knocks at the door and waits for the answer.
There was like music playing from the main room. Tal is like in the bathroom right now, and she's actually like setting up this kind of rolling tray. She has these black nitrite gloves on, and she was fixing up some bottles and like wrapping them in gauze for bacterial reasons to not get them dirty. And hears it and then puts down the bottles and starts walking into the main room and then going to the door. Miss God, do these doors have like peepholes or is it just like a regular door?
I think it's an old-fashioned hotel, and there are no peepholes.
Okay. Tal's just gonna open it. She's expecting. So she's just gonna open it and looks out. How does Ash look?
Ash looks pretty similar. It hasn't been too long that she's been in town. She's not wearing a cap though. She has just her hair out, like jeans and a shirt with some 80s band on it. And she been kind of crossing her arms while she waits. And then like when Tal opens the door, she looks her, gives her a once over. And then she asks like, do you bring all your customers in? Or should I feel special?
Leslie, you better roll hard for that direct flirtation.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, something.
Ooh, 7.
Tal is gonna smile like really fully and not quite really opening the door all the way, but leans their forearm against the door jamb and then like rests their forehead behind their hand. And they kind of like lean out a bit close to Ash and they say, maybe you are special. Who knows?
Ash kind of raises an eyebrow, gives a little smile.
And then Tal laughs out and then opens the door all the way and then goes, all right, come on, get your ass in here. I'm just getting set up.
Yes, ma'am. As Tal is like by the door, she passes her really close. She turns like facing her and just walks in. There's like a split second that they're really close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ash walks in and takes in the room, inspecting it.
Ash, when you step inside, this is actually the first time you've been to Tal's room. Up until this point, you hadn't really been meeting here. And as you let your eyes roam around the room, you notice how clean it is. It just has a sparkling quality. You get the sense that Tal has really good attention to detail with how practiced they have to be when they tattoo. There's a sort of, it's almost a comforting darkness to the way that the room is decorated. All of the colors for the bedspreads are all very warm, like browns, terracottas. They've got an enormous bed populating the center of the room with this beautiful little leather sofa beneath it as well. It seems like Tal has a really refined eye for the way that their room is laid out, and you note how there are these just beautiful accents all across in all of the details of the space. And you peek around the corner and see through the bathroom door that has been cracked slightly open that the beautiful design didn't really stop in the main room. It almost strikes you like there is no way that the rest of the hotels in the Altar could be standardized like this. It's just too exquisite. So you think to yourself that this is definitely a place where someone has settled. As you finish tracing your eyes around the space, you notice Tal's tattoo equipment, and you remember why you're there.
As she's taking it in, she, what seems like absent-mindedly, just comments, oh wow, everything's so tidy. And then she looks over at Tal.
Tal kind of brushes their nose with their forearm, avoiding the glove, and they laugh out again quietly under their breath, and they're like, yeah, gotta keep it in the work, gotta keep it in life, you know, can't really have things messy, so. And then Tal holds up their hand really quick and is like, let me just get the stuff from the bathroom really quick and I'll get you a seat. And she's pointing near like the kitchen area. There's a counter there, but she's gonna get like a chair for Ash from the bathroom. It's one of those like small rollout stools that are leather, and Tal grabs some saran wrap onto the tray and then brings the tray with them and is starting to just wrap the chair and is like, all right, cool. Yeah, you can take a seat here. I'll get the armrest for you too.
No need to be so formal. and just goes over and sits by the place that she set up, and she like kind of stretches her arm on the position that it should go for Tal to finish what it looks like. It's almost done. Jellyfish tattoo over her forearm. Just needs some final touches.
Oh, would you say that Tal is maybe dragging out the sessions on the jellyfish tattoo so that she can spend more time?
Look, I mean, I would say like, yeah, I mean, I don't really think a tattoo like that shouldn't take too long. Like, I think they've already had 3 sessions. This is probably like the 4th and the last one.
Yeah.
Tal's probably said in the past, like, oh, your skin can't take it. Like, just give it a rest. Just come back next time. It's fine.
Ash has other tattoos and another pretty big one. She is very aware of what's happening.
Oh my god. Of course.
And she's just going along with it.
So Tal is just like grinning at like Ash's comment about being too formal or something, and then goes, "You trying to hold my hand or something?"
I love Dawn over here, like, don't make me tap the sign.
Don't make me tap the sign.
I'm going. I think that's a +1.
You know what I'm also going to say, though, before you roll, is that I'm actually going to make an executive order and say that because Ash has flirted with you since being in the space, I'm going to actually give you a forward.
Oh, wow. Okay,
An
okay.
extra one.
So I could add an extra notch to that.
Yes.
Okay. Christ on ice.
Okay. A 9 is a mixed success. So, Ash, how do you want to respond to that?
She kind of like, because she before had just like her arm laid out as if it was for go do the tattoo, but then she fully extends her hand as if to take it, as if, oh yeah, give me your hand.
Tal grabs the other seat, is about to sit across from Ash right now, and then like while she's about to sit down, takes Ash by the forearm, like underneath it, like almost as if not really even touching it yet, but is like guiding it to them, and eventually sits down with their forearm and drags the hand closer to the back of their hand and is like holding onto it and checking out the tattoo, but also more like just checking Ash out.
So this how gives her hand at some point?
Yes, she does, yeah.
I think Ash just takes her hand and like uses it to pull Tal closer to her.
Oh.
And she pulls her just so her faces are really close. And she's like, you better be careful when it wants you to sting.
Excuse me?
Oh my god, Leslie, I don't see you typing in Roll Deep. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. You know what? Okay, because of the way that, as I say that these exchanges are becoming like very much mutual. So if what you'd like to do instead of rolling, I'm gonna say that personally, I think this would be a success for Tal, unless Tal wants to tell me otherwise.
No.
I think they should react as though Ash just rolled a complete success, personally.
No, 1000%. I think, yeah, they've gotten close, and they'll talk about it in a little bit, but it's just like, yeah, they're kind of like bouncing off something where it's like, oh, okay, like, this is where we're going, I guess, and I'm cool with that, and Tal kind of laughs out again. I swear to God, the only thing Tal has been able to do is laugh. She hasn't really flirted too much.
Ash kind of notices that Tal have been like a bit shy in their interactions, and she just bites her tongue a little bit and moves back, giving her more space. But she like keeps watching her with her eyebrows slightly raised. And like
Tal kind of closes their eyes really quick, kind of like, okay, so you weren't gonna kiss me there. Kind of, and then like smiles again, and Tal goes, oh, do you want me to mess up your tattoo?
No, it's okay. I promise I'm going to behave.
Tal is like getting the ink caps ready and stuff. And then while all the stuff is already set up, Tal asks, do you need anything? I'm sorry, I didn't ask you if you wanted any water or something. Do you need like a snack? I don't know. I know you're not like the fainty type, but I don't know if you've eaten breakfast or anything already.
Maybe we can have some snacks after. And she kind of gives like a half, a little smirk.
Oh, the strength it is taking me to stay muted for this whole time and not scream every single time because, oh my god, I'm living I'm gonna say that, Tal, you probably only have like maybe another 30 to 45 minutes on this tattoo, and you kind of love having Ash in your room. It's nice. How exactly are you feeling in this moment, and knowing how long you guys have known each other at this point?
Tal just enjoys having like Ash around. It's kind of like before Ash entered their life, it was kind of a huge break in pace. And just having them here and like on Tal's days off and them just doing stuff like, you know, the tattoo sessions and how the day before they went hiking. Tal just feels nice. It feels good. It's different. And yeah, I think like it takes the seriousness of Tal's day to day and it feels lighter in that way.
First of all, I'm in love with Tal. Every single session, there's at least one time where I say, God, I want Tal so bad. Oh my goodness. Do you think at this point you've started working on the arm, or are you still a little bit nervous to get started?
No, I think Tal starts working on the tattoo. Has Ash comfortably set up as much as they need. And yeah, starts up the machine and goes at it.
Do you find that when you work, you like to talk and be distracted, or do you think that you're like a silent, I'm going to zero in on what I have to do?
No, Tal talks. Not like small talk, like she just likes having people be comfortable while they get the work done. Usually it takes their mind off of the fact that they're literally getting micro stabbed right now. Yeah.
And can I ask Ash really quickly before you say anything, what are you thinking after this amount of time knowing her?
Ash hasn't had the best of times since she got into town. It hasn't been exactly easy for her. And she's a bit scared because she's starting to feel comfortable around town. And that kind of feeling, like, yeah, it scares her a little bit. But at the same time, she can't really help it.
As Tal is starting to like work on one of the tendrils of the jellyfish, she takes a breath in and kind of smiles again and says, "So how are your hands doing? I hope the climbing wasn't too rough yesterday."
Oh boy. Yeah. Not sure how you got me to do that, but I mean,
It's
the tree was pretty
fun.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, the view was pretty worth it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Other
I
things
think
were worth it too.
Tal kind of lifts the needle away from Ash's skin and just looks up at the ceiling of it and then looks back at Ash and is just like, uh-huh, yeah.
Ash enjoys the way that Tal gets when she's teasing her. And then she looks around the room, notices how this really seems like a lived-in place. And she kind of looks back and asks, "So, how long have you been here?"
About 4, coming on to 5 years now. I've been here for a solid minute. Yeah, it used to not be like this. And smiles again to themselves and says, "Oh, too fancy for you?" And then chuckles.
"Oh, no. I'm just thinking about ways that this room could get messy."
Yeah, you really love like playing around with me, huh? And it's just like
Kind of
laughing at
shrugs.
this point. Uh-huh. And says, "All right, sure. I don't know if you can try and make a mess out of me, but you can try." And then continues to work on the tattoo and then kind of moves the conversation back to that how long she's been living here and says, "Yeah, just, you know, whatever money or connections or people I meet. Just makes the space a bit more comfortable than what it used to be, honestly. And just kind of waits if Ash says anything else or if she has another question.
You wanted to come here. Is that right? Like you chose to come live here?
Tal bites the inside of their cheek a little bit, maintaining their smile, but ultimately gets a bit serious, but not enough to like mess up the mood or anything, not at all. But Tal goes, no. I think just like you, at some point I wanted to leave the town, but yeah, no, I
kind of like raises an eyebrow at that, curious. You've tried?
Well, more like I didn't think I was gonna stay that long. More like I just ended up here and I didn't know where I was going at first. But now I have a place here and it's home to me and I've got people I care about. When Tal says that is kind of looking at Ash and then looks down, focusing back on the tattoo. So I don't really want to leave now. No, it's been a long time since I felt that way.
What Tal says seems to like makes Ash wonder deeply. She just keep thinking to herself. She doesn't really say anything to it.
I know yesterday you said you wanted to leave eventually. I mean, did you have somewhere you wanted to go? Do you have plans outside of Javelin? Or I haven't convinced you to stay already? And then kind of smiles at Ash.
Ash looks around, try not to look at Tal. I'm gonna have to try a little harder for that.
And Tal kind of fakes this defeat. Ah, come on. I took you on a really nice hike yesterday, showed you the sunrise. Damn, how much harder do I have to try?
Ash kind of sighs because it seems like you're hitting on a sore spot to her. And
does Tal notice that?
Yeah, it seems like to bother her, the question itself. And she goes, yeah, I'd like to leave sometime.
Tal notices the tone change, or like Ash looking like they took a breath in and wasn't too quite happy maybe with the topic at hand, and then exhales and goes, sorry, I was just giving you a hard time. I didn't mean anything by it. Of course, you're free to go whenever you want.
Yeah, I'm free to go. And Ash looks over the room again. It feels like she's uncomfortable, and she tries to change the topic of the conversation. So, I noticed the tattoo on your hand seems pretty popular in town.
Tal doesn't hide it. It's obvious that the tattoo's been made apparent already on their right hand. And they go, yeah, I've got pretty good community here. It's like a thing we have. I hope that doesn't seem weird.
No, I've heard stuff.
What did you hear?
I don't know. Like, you guys keep your hands in everybody's business. You gotta control the town. You guys like a mafia.
I don't know. You're in my room. It doesn't seem like you're too scared. And then like Tal pauses a bit and then goes, "Nah, we're not a mafia. No."
So you don't do like shady stuff on the back, full of secrets.
If you're asking me, I don't do anything shady. Are you asking me?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm so perfect and I'm so well behaved. I would never do such a thing.
Sure.
And Tal keeps working on the tattoo and then says, yeah, it's just a tattoo that me and a few people who matter to me share, you know. It's more of a nostalgic piece than anything, but yeah.
Okay. I won't try.
I don't mind that you do, seeing how curious you are. I think I would be too if I were in your shoes, I guess. And then Tal in their head is thinking how since the day before they were already getting this idea to like maybe try and see if Ash was somehow interested in the town, or was it just like mostly them they were interested in, but they were just kind of like getting feelers like, oh, what do they think about this potential thing I'm involved with, and whether it's something that they could extend to Ash.
It's
Yes,
okay
ma'am.
if it's potentially against Tal's nature, but if you'd like, you can gaze into the abyss.
Ooh. Yeah, fuck yeah, I am gonna gaze into the abyss. Yeah. So my question to the abyss would be like, is Ash interested in me, bestie, or interested in what? Let's see, 2d6 plus. Oh, my dark is 0. Ooh,
Oh
11.
my god. Damn.
This will be like a complete answer. So think about your question, and then I think Ash will probably be able to answer it best for you.
What is your question?
This is so much pressure.
Try to think about this from the perspective of what's something that you don't know about Ash right now that you genuinely want to know.
What about Javelin makes Ash want to skip town?
Because you got a complex sex, you get the sense that it's not really about the town itself. It's more about just being here in general.
Like a sense of not belonging there?
Yes. You get the sense that she wasn't supposed to be there.
Okay, is that a clear enough answer? I think, yeah, it's definitely still vague though, but okay, that's fine. They don't feel like they belong. Okay.
Was that a good enough answer, Miss Scott?
Yeah, was it? I wonder.
Personally, I think so.
Okay.
I will say, at this point, I think that Tal, you might be able to finish up soon, but you're still so curious about Ash. Even though you two have spent the past couple months getting to know each other, like, you really do feel compelled to her. So you take a look at the tattoo. There's not really much else you could add, even if you wanted to.
Adds one more bubble. I'm kidding.
Just one more
Just
little.
one more.
So, what do you want to do now?
I think Tal kind of props back onto their seat and then goes, all right, I think we're done. Let me know how it looks. And then kind of like
Ash
slides
can-
away. And then there's kind of like a long form mirror right outside of the bathroom. And like Tal rolls away and then motions to the mirror if Ash wants to take a look.
Oh yeah. Ash firstly just rolls her arm around, like taking a feel for how the full tattoo looks on her, and then she goes over to the mirror to truly see herself. And then she kind of jokes, teases Tal, and she's like, yeah, that's pretty good. Not sure how it compares to the other one though.
Tal is looking at Ash through the mirror while Ash is looking at themselves, and then kind of makes like their eyebrow perks up and then goes, I don't know. And then stands up. While Ash was looking at the tattoo, they were already taking their gloves off and putting like disinfectant on them. And then walks behind Ash and then like crosses their arms, pretending to scrutinize the tattoo that they had just worked on. And they said, well, I don't know, like, I'd say it works pretty well. The composition, the movement, I think I did a pretty damn good job. And then grins. But then knows what they're referring to is their other, like, bigger piece. And then just as a joke, they're like, I don't know, not to be mean to the other guy, but I think I did better anyway.
If I had a pillow, I'd be biting it right now. Like, I can't.
At this point,
I am a ball of furious lesbian emotion.
like at this point, dude, like I have no other option other than having to bomb you. This is insane.
So, does Ash turn to Tal?
Yeah, Ash does have a reaction. To that comment, Ash turns to Tal and gets closer. And she raises her hand and like places on her chin where the tattoo is, kind of brushing it a little bit. And she's like, oh, Why aren't you so full of yourself?
Tal just shrugs and then says, I think you like me for it.
Ash looks her up and down, and her arm goes over like the side. You know where Tao has the other tattoo next to her shoulder?
The chest piece?
Yeah, but like the shoulder part, the sides of the arms.
Tal at that, without even like a second thought, gets closer to Ash and then gets their bodies together. Like, yeah, man, how am I going to describe that? I'm going insane. And then kind of puts their right hand on their hip, like towards the small of their back, waiting to see what they would do.
Ash, because they're pretty close now, she looks down over Tal's lips and gets really close. And she whispers, I thought you were a professional. Are you sure this is done?
Tal is trying not to laugh and then says, yeah, I'll be professional again in a second. You're trying to distract me. And then, like, also looks at Ash's lips and then, like, is looking back up at their eyes again.
Does Tal try to kiss her, or?
Yeah, they're getting closer. They're getting closer, yeah. And I think Tal's gonna initiate the kiss if Ash wants.
As Ash had the hand over her chin, she raises her finger and like stops Tal as she gets really close. Weren't you a perfectionist? Gotta do this properly. And like she motions to her arm again. You can have fun after.
Tal kind of Tal laughs under their breath again and goes, All right, sit your ass back down again. I gotta get this thing wrapped up. Like,
and
just smiling at them.
Because Ash has been teasing Tal so much and she's so amused by it, she just gets on her tiptoes and gives Tal a quick peck on the cheek. Good girl.
I have been so polite. I have let you do this feed without interfering, and you. Good girl. Tal, you're gonna give Ash 5 straight. I swear to God. Oh my God, no wonder you've been fucking waiting to. What? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm normal. I can be normal.
No, totally fine. Oh my
I need an inhaler.
God.
Oh my God.
I'm like losing my sanity right now.
Okay. All right.
Jesus.
Okay. So, Tal, do you want to describe what you do next?
Yes.
Do you leave Ash alone in the room?
Yeah, so right when Ash kisses Tal's cheek, they just smile to themselves and then for a moment just like instinctively puts their right hand on to where Ash kissed them and then kind of feels how warm it is and then spins around and heads to the bathroom because before they wanted to wrap up the tattoo, they wanted to get some of the gel that they put sometimes on it to keep it protected before wrapping it. And yeah, they're heading into the bathroom and taking some of their equipment with them to dispose some of it. And yeah, they're in the bathroom and Tal goes, I'll be right back. Just give me a second to get the gel really quick. And turns.
Okay. Ash, when you're in the room alone, what's going through your head? What do you want to do?
There's like a moment of hesitation for Ash as she considers what she's about to do. But then the conversation that they had about her being in town and wanting to leave comes back to her mind. And she decides on instinct that the moment she got there, she was scrutinizing the room. And she wants to look for anything connected to the choir that Tal might have.
All right, so you want to snoop around Tal's room.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is some hesitation, but then Yeah, instinct comes over. I gotta do this.
I think that Tal has really let their guard down, letting you into their bedroom, and it shouldn't take you very long to scan over to see that there are some documents sitting on a bureau that look like they might be of interest to you. Do you want to go take a look?
Okay, yeah, she like quickly moves over to where that is and like takes a look if it's of interest.
There seems to be a stack of papers that are thicker, and then there's another dossier that's been sealed, and it doesn't look like it's been opened, even by Tal. Which one do you want?
She quickly like skirmishes through them and then sees something that's more of interest. It's piquing her interest, and she tries to pocket it.
Okay, so Ash, as you hastily try to rattle through these papers, Tal, you might hear something. Just slight shuffling. Do you want to take a look outside, or do you want to just keep doing what you're doing?
Tal does hear that and is interested, kind of like, oh, like Ash is just getting comfortable now, like looking out the place, and then says, hey, about food, I was thinking, like they were walking out while they were asking that, and they were bringing the gel out with some of the extra wrap they had in the bathroom. And what do they see when they emerged from the bathroom? Like they weren't really even thinking about the sound of the thing, but they were done and they were walking out to ask Ash about what they wanted
think
for food later.
Ash gets desperate. They didn't think that Tao would walk out so quickly, so they like seem to have caught them, and they try to pretend that they're just shuffling through things mindlessly. But has she pocketed it already? The paper.
Okay, so you're doing a dangerous thing by letting me decide. So I'll give you one more chance and you can decide and I won't fight you. But if you let me decide, then I'm going to pick whatever I want.
So what's it going to be?
Sure. I'll let God decide.
Oh my god. Leslie dances with the devil. I'm gonna say that Tal, like when you exit the room, absentmindedly looking at the equipment in your arms, you look up and you notice that Ash has spun around from your desk and has hastily stuffed like a poorly folded document into their back pocket. What do you do?
I was just taking a look. Sorry. Didn't mean to cause a mess.
Tal puts the gel in like the gauze. Oh shit, I dropped my thing. Oh my god.
That was Tal.
Oh yeah, probably yeah. Drop some shit.
Stop, it's so cute. It's so immersive.
Yeah, they put the stuff on the tray for a little bit, the one nearest to them, and their right hand kind of extends and then is like half pointing to Ash, not quite at them, but right behind them, and goes, "What were you looking at?"
Ash kind of like chokes a little bit. She like seems quite nervous. She's not very good at pretending. I'm just taking a look around.
Does Tal notice that they do have a document in their back pocket, or what does that look like?
Okay, alternate question. Is Tal looking at her ass?
So I would say that, Ash, when you pick the document, because it's sealed, it's in like a hard structured, not like bubble wrapped, but it's almost like a bubble mailer in a way. Like it's a protected sealed outer case. So you fold it, but it's big and it's crunchy. And when you stick it in your back pocket, Tal, you can see it poking out beside her hip. And so you can tell that they have something on their person that they did not come here with.
Tal's from the restroom still had this like smile, but now it's gradually falling as they're realizing the severity of what could have just happened and things breaking like right in front of them. And then they say, while they're walking a bit closer, like they're timing their steps. It's not urgent or anything because they're caught aback about what just happened. You didn't just come here and just to what are you doing? And it's like cannot find their words. Like,
Ash notices Tal slowly, like, kind of stepping towards her. As Tal takes a step closer to her, she takes a step back, closer to the door, and she's now feeling like pretty nervous and like, fuck, she messed up. She kind of like shuffles all the papers that she previously was looking through, making a bigger mess over it.
Tal's jaw is clenching now, seeing that Ash looks like they want to escape the space with some very important things in them.
You were just asking how we could make a mess of the room. We're just poking around, that's all. And she takes another step back.
Tal, for a moment, flutters their eyes shut before opening them again, and they are so conflicted about what's happening. And then they say, Ash, you don't take things that don't belong to you. Please give that back.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're talking about. And she keeps stepping back. And like, as she's walking back, any object that she sees, she's like slightly moving them out of place. Like, still trying to tease, like, yeah, I'm just messing up the room a little bit.
Tal is not absorbing that. She is set on those documents and she's walking closer to you and is almost trying to intimidate by their height or their size by just getting closer. And they're trying to be careful because at any moment, anything can change if the action is too drastic. I thought we were just having fun. I didn't think you'd come in here and
We are just having
start
fun.
snooping around my shit.
Like I said, I was just looking. And she kind of gulps.
Looking
Like,
and taking, and then is just
how close
in
is Ash to the
disbelief.
door now?
I'm gonna say that, Ash, you've backed yourself along the side of the wall, slowly inching towards the front door. And as you sort of skim your hand along that wall beside you, your fingers graze the door frame, and you realize that the door is right behind you.
The heat from like the pit of Tal's stomach has just been getting hotter and hotter gradually. Like they feel their palms feeling almost oily, and it feels uncomfortable. Everything's feeling like hot, and they're trying not to freak out because in their mind's eye, this person just looked like they came in just to steal something of the choirs. And after all the time they've spent together, it doesn't feel good to Tal at all.
Ash is getting like more and more nervous at Tal's reaction. She's like seeing how the boiling anger is rising. Now she really feels like, oh, I can't talk my way out of this. That's not what you think. And she tries, not really turning to the door, but she like tries to touch it to grab the handle.
Okay, at that, Tal at this point, not sprints, but because of how close Ash is anyway, it's like a quick, almost like a dash to the door. And the motive was to take the document away while they're turned around, but at that point it's more of like, I need to get that hand off the doorknob.
And seeing like, that Tal isn't like really listening at the moment, and she's really going for her. Ash's instinct is just like, fuck, I gotta get out of here.
So, I think that, Ash, to be honest, you're not entirely lying to Tal. So much of how you feel is that you did come here for fun and because you like her and like spending time with her. But there's always something that's hiding at the back of your mind, a question that you can't quite answer, that you just need to look for options everywhere you go. And Tal, like when you see this invasion of your privacy, when you've just entrusted this person who you really like to your space, you feel confused, and the only thing you want to do is to understand. You just want to stop her. You just want to talk to her. You just want to figure out why she's running away from you right now, when all you want to do is spend time with her and in some ways be together in a more serious way than you are right now, to potentially talk about a future in Javelin. And so when Ash's hand clutches the knob and twists it, all you can think is, please don't go. You reach forward with your other hand, and instead of making contact with the door, you wrap your hand around her wrist, and the tension and emotions that you were feeling, they flare up, and the flesh scalds underneath your fingers. Ash, you scream out, shocked by the pain, and Tal, you're so scared and shocked by the way that you missed, that you recoil, and it stuns you for a moment to complete frozen shock. Ash, you take this moment to take the documents and run out of the altar. Ash, you're running out of the altar, and there's really only one place that you can think of to go, but currently you have so many questions in your mind, and that anxious pit in your stomach that keeps boiling around whenever you think of those memories, like you have to physically shake it away. And when you look up, you're still sort of patting down Chief's side, and touching their short hair steadies you in a way. All of this happened in barely a moment. The recollection comes and it goes, and Morgan, you see Ash blink this feeling away. Do you want to say anything to her?
Oh my god. I don't know. I'm like processing that flashback. I don't even know what to say. I think Morgan would do the thing where it's like she would awkwardly try and approach Ash and then reach out a hand, and then before touching Ash, she'd be like, rescind it, and then she would take it back and not do anything.
I think Ash would notice Morgan's hand like going to reach for her, but feeling fresh out of those memories, she just recoils.
Yeah, Morgan's not gonna push it, I think.
I'm sorry, but the Morgan voice saying that, I'm gonna bury myself like, Morgan's not gonna push it, and then you like,
I think I'll leave that one alone. No.
I think is Morgan gonna say anything else? Because if not,
nor she will not initiate anything, I guess.
Okay, I think because she got this flash of like her memories, how she messed up when she got closer to someone before. She thinks back on the little interaction, that kind of like flirty thing that they had with Morgan, and like seeing how Morgan tried to reach for her, they're like, you should keep your distance, and goes over to take Chief to the stables.
Okay, this is out of character, but oh my god, Ash is so emotionally damaged. Debbie Reinhardt talk.
We're gonna go directly into from the stables. Haley is walking deputy by the lead, hoping that Micah's following behind her. Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, so Micah, you can notice that there's something different about Haley's aura. Like, you've been around her for close to 3 years now, so you've gotten a little bit perceptive of her moods. And you don't often get a lot of time to spend just with her. Usually you're in a larger group with everybody. As she pitches deputy, is there anything you want to say to her?
Can Micah tell what kind of mood she's in, or would I have to roll dark for that?
You know, because Micah hasn't had a lot of rolls, roll dark for it. Yeah.
That's fair. That's a 9. And my question would be, what's going on with Haley right now?
The Abyss shows you cloudy images, but you get the sense that Haley's actually kind of excited and is trying to mask it and is failing. But there's something kind of frantic about the way that she's excited. And she notices that you're studying her and shoots you a look. Is like, you all right?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I was just wondering, should we do some extra spring cleaning for when... And Micah gives a wink at this. Your little friend arrives?
I was sort of thinking he'd take up space in one of the stables. What do you think?
Oh, with the horses? You'll put him with the horses?
What, do you want him sleeping in the house?
Micah's gonna turn to Deputy to stroke over him and go, I'm not sure if there would be any other place for him here, but if you say stables, then yeah.
Micah, And she pauses and thinks about her words carefully, and then she looks at you, and she has a really soft expression. She says, do we have a problem?
Micah's smile falls, and their expression grows unreadable, and they go, we don't have a problem if we can still achieve our goal. That's what we're still after, right, Haley?
Haley squints a little bit and walks really close so that she's only a couple inches away from Micah's chest to kind of look up at them. And that's all we've really been looking for, isn't it? Just fixing our goal, doing what we need to. Do you think something's changed?
No, I just want to make sure that we're not getting distracted.
Micah, if you've got something to say, I think you should say it.
Micah's gonna look Haley in the eyes. It's none of my business, and I do not care. What I care about is that we accomplish this, and that nobody interferes. Not the cult, not anyone.
Haley's sort of vulnerable expression, where she really did seem like she was asking Micah what was wrong, they change, almost like you blink and you miss it, and the mask comes back up and she smiles, and she's just like, oh, honey. Wow. I think you and I might be a lot more alike than you think. She sort of walks away from you and gestures that you can follow if you want.
Micah's gonna just linger for a moment and then follow along.
As you walk alongside her, you hear the swaying of thin twigs in a dusty desert wind. Almost like if you really focus in on the sounds, all you can really hear are deputies' horse hoofs connecting with the ground and just the gentlest of breezes outside. The ranch is really peaceful, and you've been here for a while. Micah, if I heard something and I wasn't sure about what it meant, or basically, if I got information, would you suggest that I trust my gut or I try to go to the source? What do you think I would trust more, myself or somebody else?
Micah's face and expression softens. I trust you and your judgment. Don't get me wrong, I'm not questioning your decisions, because, hey, it's been a few years and so far you've never let me or the others down. We're just so close.
I know. Oh, Lord, I know. She sort of rolls her neck and takes off her hat, and she ruffles her hair a little bit, like her hair is sticking to her forehead with sweat, and the sun is getting a little bit lower in the sky, and she looks at Micah and she says, listen, it's a long ride, and if I'm gonna have to bring our guest back, I guess I should probably just take a quick break and turn back. Do you think you can look after things here while I'm gone?
Of course. You sure you don't need anyone to come with you?
Not really gonna fit that many people on a horse, and I don't really want to attract any more unwanted choir attention. We've had a rough go of it for the last 2 days, don't you think?
Yeah, you could say that. And Micah's gonna take out one of their cigarettes and light it and take a deep inhale.
I think Haley is going to make a roll. Okay, so Haley rolled hot for a favor. And so basically, the way favors work is that favors are loyalty based directives that stem from commitments and responsibility rather than emotional connection to a person. So when you call in a favor, you can assign them a task, take a string they have on someone else, make them roll for you, and suffer the failure if they lose, or the person can roll with cold to shut this person down. Haley is going to look at Micah up and down as they take a drag from their cigarette and say, I want you to do something for me. You think you could?
Micah's gonna smile and nod.
Okay. I'm thinking very deeply. And I actually think the way that this is going to work is Haley's going to take one of your Dante strings.
Nar. Okay, no, that's fine. I have 2, so
Yes.
okay.
Okay. When the time comes, I'll be calling it in. Just letting you know.
Why so mysterious?
You've never known a goddamn thing about me. You're not about to start.
Dang it, I was just about to say, why can't it start now?
Haley's going to give you a polite nod and hang her hat outside the stable where Deputy stays, and then walk towards the house. And Micah, I'd like you to make a dark roll for me.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh no, that's so
What?
bad. How? 5.
Okay, so Micah, your dark roll failed, but that's okay because it was about a specific thing. It's all right that you missed it. It was about Haley as she walked away. But she recedes into this front opening where the ranch has stairs that lead into the house. And you think back on the years before you really knew Haley. The world around you dissolves into this strange, what feels like almost like an alternate timeline where you were a different person. And you're in like what seems to be a quiet street. It's nighttime. There are a few street lamps that are sort of lighting up this road. So, Micah, there's a title card that comes across you smoking on an evening street with this one spotlight hanging over you that reads 1996. And you take a long breath and look around. Usually, this is the meeting place that you expect to find it, but you haven't seen it yet, so you wonder if maybe they're going to perhaps be opening up a door for you somewhere close by. Do you want to look around your surroundings?
Yeah. Is there anything coming? Is there anything special?
Well, why don't you make another dark roll for me? You got it. Okay.
I got it.
So, congratulations. As you peer around the area, you notice that there are a couple people walking in and out of the streets. This is a really small town, but it has an adolescent liveliness to it. And you've become accustomed to the way it likes to sneak up on you. So you inhale one last time and you turn your head over your shoulder, knowing that ghostly gloved hands are going to come across both of your shoulders towards your chest to just rest there on you. And an eerie face with a hat with fringe that dances gently brush over the top of your shoulder. And you can feel it smile next to you. Do you want to say anything?
Micah's gonna turn their head and tilt it a little bit. Can they see the figure?
Yes, the figure's face comes into view in the corner of your periphery, and you can see shimmering black lips smiling, carving almost this deep line into their face. It walks around you
It's just towering over you. You've grown used to its size. Looks down with this sort of gentle expression that doesn't really fit with their entire aesthetic. And it says, I wanted to scare you.
Better luck next time, I guess.
Do you think we should go somewhere to talk?
I would like that very much. And Micah's gonna take off their head and push back their hair. It's a little bit longer, and they're gonna slick it back and put the hat back on.
They take a deep, long, and satisfied look at you, and then the two of you walk in the cover of the alleyways, somewhere a little bit more safe for a discussion. It takes their hand in this sort of almost shimmering latex leather glove and brushes it along the outer brick of a wall, and almost like they've melted the actual mortar away, it completely dissolves and it opens into this new space, one that you've been to a couple times. Do you want to step in?
Yes, please.
So, I thought that maybe we could talk. What do you think?
Yeah. I've been looking forward to seeing you again.
Well, I have good news, and I have bad news. What would you like first?
Micah's gonna pull a grimace and go, let's start with the bad news.
You're always the pessimist. And they step deep into the space, and there's this velvet curtain that trails itself across with all of these different banisters hanging down, this long, comfortable-looking lounger couch and plush pillows everywhere. There's this carpet in the center of the room that is this deep wine color and luxurious looking fabrics and decorations that are strewn around. But there are no windows. And you sort of remember where this place actually is. So, Micah, have you stepped completely inside the room?
Yeah.
This portal that led back out onto the street, it shimmers and closes behind you, and there's suddenly no street left to return to. The figure gestures at the lounger for you to sit, and then begins saying, well, despite my efforts, I think that without your help up here, there won't really be a place for the collection to take place. Do you understand?
Micah's gonna chuckle and sit down on the couch, plumping down, and rub their forehead and go, I've had a long day. Would you mind doing this? In words for simple mortal like me, please? And gives a little smile.
It smiles back in a way that you know is attempting to seem humane, but just comes across as creepy. And it moves forward and bends down so that they can be eye level with Micah. You're no simple mortal, Micah. Not anymore. It stands back upright again and then gestures forward, and out of the middle of the air, a map kind of melts forth, just conjured from nothing. And they take a gloved finger and they circle around one region and point at it, and then they circle around another region with their pinky, much further away. Where I need to go, you can't meet me. Not in the plane that you're in. But there is a way. There's a way for me to bring what you need to a different location. I can't open the air where that is, though. It's a door that only opens one way, and you need to be the one to open it.
And here I thought these were bad news. Is there a problem? Is there a hook? A catch?
Somebody's already looking for this door. And with your resources, I don't know if you're going to be able to take them.
Micah's expression grows cold and they stiffen up. Is there any way I can do it anyways? And their head falls. I have to do it. There's gotta be a way, right?
Oh, Pet. Of course there is. And the figure sort of circles you like a shadow. And then puts both hands over one of your knees and leans down very low. And you can almost see those smoking red eyes behind the fringe. And it says, there's another further back on their mission. I think that you two could really benefit each other.
Are you sure I can trust that person?
Do you trust anyone, really?
No, not anymore.
It stands and it walks back over to its desk where there are little trinkets here and there from the surface world. And then it turns and looks at you and takes one of their hands and with a flourish takes off their hat. And you see the dark hair echo around them in this big ripple. And with their hat, place it in the center of their chest and give a bow. Almost tauntingly, but in a way you know that it doesn't really know how to interact with people. It's been doing its best. I think that together you might be able to make it work. But you have to work faster.
A sort of determined look manifests in Micah's eyes. I can do that.
I will make good on my end of the deal, I promise.
Micah gives a smile. I know you will.
As it walks towards you one last time, it reaches into their neck, like underneath the collar of their shirt, and pulls out a piece of paper that twists in their hands, and then they pass the paper to Micah. You'll find her here.
What does it say on the paper? Is there a direction or is it a map?
It's coordinates to a specific area. This figure's a little old-fashioned. I don't really think that they're good with real maps.
Okay.
I'm gonna do something just for the flavor. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Okay, this is fun. So, after passing you the paper, they lean down once again and they get very close to your face. And the way that this figure feels to you, just so supernatural and in a way really frightening. And they take both gloved hands and with their knuckles gently brush them across your face in a gesture that you interpret to be almost a threat. And then it gives another smile, trying its best to seem comforting. And then it stands and it makes a small gesture towards the wall where a door opens up again. It was so good to see you.
As Micah gets up, they take off their hat. And similar to the figure earlier, they take a bow. It's always a pleasure. I guess I'll see you again next year.
Absolutely.
Micah gives a nod and starts going towards the door.
Micah, as you exit, you don't hear any sound. There is no indication that something has happened, but when you turn over your shoulder, nothing is there. It's like it was a dream. The cold
fabric sensation on your face is the only thing that reminds you that was a real interaction that just happened. As you unfurl the paper and look at the coordinates again, how do you feel about the idea of seeking out someone to work together with? Do you feel like it might be a good idea? What do you think?
I think Micah is so angry and so frustrated because they've been doing this for a while, working towards their goal. And sometimes it felt like they just couldn't progress. But at least they knew they had to work hard. They had to make sure that it works out. And if they failed, at least they would know who's to blame. But now, the fact that they have to form an alliance with another person, it's frustrating. It puts their whole goal at a sort of risk where you have to put trust into another person to complete their part of the job as well. Micah is not happy with this, but as always, they'll try and make the best of it.
Micah, as you return that spectral memory to yourself and you take a moment to sit on the porch of Haley's ranch, you perhaps smoke just a little bit longer, and then you notice that Haley is opening the porch door next to you, and she's changed out of her earlier clothes. She's wearing like a thick, heavy jacket, and she's wearing different chaps, and she shoots you a look. You doing good?
As Micah exhales, they put on one of their smiles. It's almost genuine in a way. And they go, "Yeah, I'm good. Are you ready to head out?"
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I got something for you. She walks over and her spurs click as she gets closer. The little spinning metal creates a pleasing jingle. And she reaches into her pocket and she flicks a coin at you. Do you catch it?
Hell yeah. If I don't have to roll for it, yeah, Micah catches it.
Yeah. I think you were watching her. I think you can catch it.
Yeah.
And she gives Micah a once over. And she's like, "That's mine. You can hold on to it."
Is there anything on the coin if Micah takes a closer look at it?
It's a gold doubloon. There's actually no embossing on either side.
All right, Hales. I will. And this time their smile is actually genuine.
Haley makes a little half run down the steps and gives a loud wolf whistle with both fingers in her mouth and gets Deputy out from the stable and climbs on top, readjusts her hat on top of her head and gives it a little flick at Micah and then sets off back towards Javelin. How are you feeling?
At this moment, Micah is conflicted and I actually want to roll dark and ask the abyss something if that's okay.
Oh my god, it's so more than okay. I'm gonna die. I love this.
Okay. Oh! Okay.
What was your question?
Oh, sorry. Okay. I think what Micah is wondering is how committed Haley still is to their goal. And I guess the question that could be asked is, how far is Haley willing to go to accomplish what they set out to do?
First of all, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Second of all, the abyss shows you visions of you and Haley working together over the past couple of years, and this scene that you've experienced before, waiting on the porch and watching her leave, knowing that she'll come back maybe a few days later after taking care of some own personal business in the city, and with a comforting warmth in your stomach, you actually get the sense that there isn't anything
Haley would do that would jeopardize her goals. She is 100% committed to what she wants to do.
All right, that's good.
She ain't swaying.
I love that. I love that.
Oh gosh.
I guess that puts Micah's worries at ease, and they're able to enjoy the rest of the evening, the rest of the sun setting.
Okay. Haley rides towards Javelin. The sun is in its high point. It's getting lower as she leaves. In the city, there's anxious energy around the people who live there. There's a feeling that the choir is slipping a little bit. After the commotion that happened both nights prior, it seems like things are a little bit less polished. Something is going on that's just not right. And there's that eerie wailing coming from the canyon that people are now saying they can start to hear. Dante, you open your eyes to another very dark room. You get this sense that there's the smell of something burning. Do you want to try and move around?
Is this present time?
Yes.
Then, yeah. What do they see?
As you try to move your arms, you realize that your wrists are held at your sides. And as you roll your head around, you realize you're in this uncomfortable chair. And in the room with you, there's 2 people, but you can't quite make them out.
Dante will try and move their hands, see if they can get them free. Are they restrained? Are they like tied up? Or is there like something invisible, like an invisible force holding them in place?
They're currently restrained. They're held to the chair.
Okay, Dante takes a deep breath and tries not to panic. They sort of wiggle around to see if the restraints will budge. Do they?
You feel that there's a bit of give in them. It seems like they weren't put there to hurt you. It seems like they were put there just to keep you in place. Though, not a very comforting thought that they didn't trust you to stay in place without restraints. As you sit there and you struggle against what's binding you, you hear a long slide of a rock against a blade, and it sharpens it.
Dante distinctly remembers that sound, and they know that this is not good. This is not going well for them. So they sort of straighten up in the chair, take another deep breath, and swallow hard before saying, "Why am I here?"
T stands from the corner of the room and walks forward with their head down and turns their sword back and forth over in their hand, looking at the tattoos on their forearm. And then you feel the cold steel of the blade slide in between where your skin is and where the restraint is, and they slice upwards, and they let your left hand go.
Dante just looks at the action, and they don't really move their hand from where it was. They look up to Thea with a questioning look, as if waiting for an answer.
I don't like her methods, but she is effective. And then they look over their shoulder, and you can see that the other person with their back against the wall is Quinn. When you don't say anything, T walks back over to where Quinn is standing and passes her their katana, and then they take long, slow strides towards you, and with their hands undo the other restraint. It wasn't my idea to have you tied up, but we had to separate you 2.
Where's Camino?
You know, Dante, I don't want to take your dog away, but
If you're not going to listen to me, then I don't know if I have another choice.
At this, Dante will shoot up and walk into T's face, anger boiling inside of them. And they say, "What did you do to Cam? Where the fuck is she?"
T doesn't even flinch at the aggression. T's not afraid of you. And if you look over T's shoulder, you can see that at your sudden movement, Quinn has aimed her rifle right at you. And T kind of backs away slowly and says, "Do you know what you did when you sent your dog after Rogers?"
I was just giving her what she wanted.
You. T is cracking just slightly.
Wasn't that my purpose? Keep her in line? That's how I keep her in line.
T raises both hands to their lips and peeks them together and just thinks for a moment and walks away from Dante towards Quinn and then turns back to Dante and says, "I haven't been very fond of your recent insubordination, but I have been so lenient. If you want your dog back, you're gonna stop fucking with my plans, I swear to God."
You know what, T? You brought this upon yourself.
Quinn, beside T, is gonna tighten their hands on the rifle and walk 2 steps towards Dante, putting space between T and Dante. And
Dante doesn't really care about that. He just keeps staring angrily at T.
T kind of raises a hand at Quinn like, "It's okay." And then they walk towards the exit. Just a single door in a concrete room. And they open it while Quinn has her gun trained on Dante. You're in no position to make threats.
I am not threatening you. I'm just telling you that your methods regarding Camino were not something you should have gone for.
T breathes slowly and patiently, untucks their shirt from their belt, ruffles it a couple times as though they're kind of overheating. And then they look back at Dante. They say, "Don't try to convince yourself you're a good person. We do what we can with what we're given." Who do you take care of outside of yourself? I feed this entire community. I house them. All you have to do is what I ask.
But you know what? I'm not a good person. I know that. Neither are you, neither is Cam. But you know what? I am here by choice. Everyone else is here by choice. Except for Camino.
You don't know why she's here.
Then tell me.
Why would I do that?
Tell me, make me understand.
T tries to breathe and calm themselves again. They don't want to lose control. Not like this. Not where they're covered by the canyon. They walk back into the room and gesture for Quinn to guard the door. And then they just point at the chair as if they're saying, "Sit."
Dante takes a double look at the chair, but eventually complies and slowly walks to it and then lowers themselves on it.
T takes another moment to really contemplate what exactly it is they want to say in this moment, and they fold their arms over their chest and stare at the ground. You weren't here in the beginning. You have no idea what it was like. This was a different place back then. And what I inherited. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. What you don't really seem to understand is that these wrongs, these bad people that raised us, the things they did, they can be undone. But it takes so much time, and it takes so much energy, and it takes so much work, and none of you appreciate what I do. Nobody. What do you want for Camino, huh?
I want her to have... What I want for her is that she can make her own choices. Look, T. And at this point, I think Dante's voice is gonna grow a bit softer. And they say, I still believe in what we do. I would love to help you out. But
why can't you show me that, Dante?
because I don't...
Why? I don't believe you.
Just let her go.
I'm going to tell you something, and I'm only going to say it once, okay? Camino's contract is with me. And it ends when I get what I want. So if you help me do this, I promise we're so close. You know what? I'll let her go. I promise.
Swear it. Here. In blood.
T is gonna walk over to Quinn and take the sword and put it against their hand and then cut down the flesh, hold the sword out at Dante, and tap it on the inner part of their palm.
Dante will press against it enough to break the skin and for it to draw blood.
T is gonna walk closer to them and angle the sword so that the tip of the blade touches Dante's chin. And then with the other hand that has been cut, clasp Dante's cut hand and squeeze it really tight.
Dante will return the squeeze.
You don't have any more second chances, do you understand that?
I know.
Okay. T lets go of their hand, and there's blood smeared all over both of their palms. And just for good measure, T sort of like wipes their thumb across their bottom lip and spreads a little bit of blood there. And you look at T in this moment, and you do feel an almost biblical fear. And they turn their back on you and they walk towards the door where Quinn is standing. And they look back and they say, okay, I'll get you. They take a breath and recognize that they may have to recognize Cam's personhood as they make this deal. I'll bring you Camino tomorrow. And from here on out, you do exactly what I say.
Understood.
Taya looks at Quinn and just says, lock them in, and then leaves the room. And Quinn pulls the door shut behind her, and you hear an enormous metal latch swing down, and you're left alone. How do you feel?
Now that they're alone, their shoulders drop and they feel immensely tired, and they just collapse back into the chair, just thinking what they've just done. And they just sit like that for a moment before trying to contact Camino, like just to get like a sense of if she's okay or if she's hurt, or just to get any sort of information of her situation. Do they get like a reply or something?
I think if you gaze into the abyss, you might be able to see.
Okay.
But I don't know if you'll like what you find.
Oh no. Oh god, okay. Okay, it's a 10.
All right. So on a 10 and up, the abyss shows you exactly what you want to know. So what was your question again?
what's the situation that Camino is in? Is she okay? Is she being, I don't know, is she being hurt or something?
What you see as you sort of look into the abyss is footsteps echoing through a hallway, heavy, thick boots, and then a figure who's sitting on the ground with two hands on their knees, with their hands clasped together at their forehead, sort of like their elbows are on their knees and their hands are at their forehead, just kind of waiting for news. And when she hears the approaching steps, she looks up and she sees T walking with Quinn, and they pass her, and she stands at attention and sort of gives like two blinks. Taya looks at her with a sort of disgust and then says to nobody, "They answered well." And then they walk away from her, and she slides back down into a sitting position and watches them go.
Okay, so at least that's a relief for Dante.
Mm-hmm. And I think, if that's okay, that's where we're going to end the session.
Yeah.
Please. Because it's late. Oh my lord.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
Oh my god. Oh my
Thank you.
god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Thank you guys for staying up.
Okay.
Okay, say bye to the
Bye.
recording.
Good night,
Bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.